Ever feel like you're juggling a whole bunch of life's curveballs at once?
Oh, tell me about it.
Like trying to figure out college tuition and suddenly thinking, wait, maybe selling that rental property could be the answer.
Yeah, that's a real juggling act right there.
That's where one of our listeners finds themselves. And let me tell you, navigating tenant rights these days is no picnic.
It's like a minefield out there.
Yeah.
Sounds like a common dilemma, though, wanting to make a smart financial move for the family while, still being fair to the tenants.
Exactly. It's like walking a tightrope. Our listeners worried about those rising college costs, which, let's face it, a lot of parents are these days. They've had tenants in the property for 5 years. Sounds like a good track record.
Yeah.
Rent's always on time. They're taking care of the place.
Right.
But with the housing market being what it is, it's only natural to feel a bit on edge about the whole process.
Especially in Ireland, right? Where those tenancy laws are really there to protect tenants, which is a good thing, but it means landlords need to be on their toes. That's why it's a huge relief to hear our listener was proactive and registered the tenancy with the Residential Tenancies Board, the RTB.
Okay, for those of us who aren't landlords, break down the RTB for us. Why is it so important, and what kind of power does it actually have?
Think of the RTB like the referee in a match. They make sure everyone's playing by the rules, landlords and tenants both. They keep tabs on those registered tenancies and have the power to step in if things go sideways.
Okay, I'm listening.
We're talking serious penalties if a landlord isn't following the rules, fines up to €4,000. That's what? More than a month's rent in some places? And sometimes even a prison sentence, believe it or not.
Whoa, okay, no messing around then.
Yeah.
So no cutting corners or trying to pull a fast one on your tenants?
Nope, not at all.
Sounds like our listener made a smart move registering with the RTB from the get-go.
100%. It's like having all your ducks in a row before the starting gun even fires. Puts
Yeah.
them in a much better spot to handle this whole thing by the book.
Okay, so our listeners got that first step covered, registered with the RTB.
Right.
That's got to be a load off, right?
Oh, yeah.
But what's next? 5-year tenancy. They want to make sure everything's by the book.
Right, and that's where it can get a little,
Tricky.
yeah, tricky's a good word for it. The next step is that notice of termination.
Okay.
And this isn't just a casual, hey, gotta go text.
Right.
This is a legal thing, like serving someone with papers officially gets the ball rolling on ending the tenancy.
So how does our listener even start with this notice of termination? I'm picturing stacks of paperwork, legal jargon.
Well, it's not quite as simple as dashing off an email, but
Right.
the good news is the RTB's got templates on their website.
Oh, thank goodness for templates.
Exactly. So that'll be a relief for our listeners. Like, having a pre-made cake, you still got to frost it, add the candles, but the hard part's done.
Templates. Always a lifesaver.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a catch, right?
Always a catch. In this case, it's the notice period. 5 years they've been there, that means 180 days by law.
Wow.
180 days, yeah, 6 full months. And we're not talking a ballpark figure here. The solicitor, Angela O'Connor, she was very clear. That termination date, down to the day, has got to be spot on.
6 months. That's a long time for our listener to be on pins and needles hoping everything goes smoothly. But I guess it gives the tenants time to find a new place, especially these days.
Yeah.
What else is involved in the meantime?
Okay, so on top of that notice of termination, there's also what's called a statutory declaration. Think of it like a legally binding promise made under oath that the property's actually being sold. Adds
Wow.
that extra layer of transparency and protection for everyone.
So not enough to just say they're selling, it has to be official, in writing.
Exactly. And here's the kicker. This statutory declaration, it's got a clause in it saying if the landlord doesn't sell within 9 months of that termination date, tenants have the right to move back in.
Whoa, seriously, that's a big deal.
It is, and it's there for a reason. Imagine a landlord just wants tenants out, no good reason. This stops them using selling as an excuse, Make sure everything's above board.
Wow, I never knew that. Good to know there are protections like that. So let me get this straight. Notice of termination, sent. Statutory declaration, done. Anything else our listeners should be aware of?
One more crucial thing. Solicitor emphasized sending both those documents by registered post, all about the paper trail, proof they did everything right, gave proper notice.
Right, cover your tracks.
Exactly. Especially important if there are any, disagreements later on.
Proof of delivery, got it. Better safe than sorry. But what if, even with all that, the tenants still feel like something's not right? Do they have options?
Oh, absolutely they do. Once they get that notice, they've got 90 days to challenge it with the RTB.
Oh, no, that's interesting. Is it like a courtroom drama, landlord versus tenant, so things could get a little, tense, even if our listeners followed every rule in the book?
Oh, for sure, it
It's like
happens.
they say you can't make everyone happy.
Right. Exactly. And that's where that, human touch comes in. Even if it's all legally above board, you still got to handle it with a bit of sensitivity. We're not just talking about a contract here, we're talking about people's homes.
Right. And it sounds like our listener wants to do right by their tenants, especially after a good 5 years. It's got to be a tough conversation to have. Any advice on breaking the news without too much stress?
Definitely. First things first, open communication, honesty. Don't just hit them with the legal papers. Sit down, have a chat, explain everything clearly, calmly, let them know it's not personal, that you value their tenancy.
So a little empathy goes a long way.
Absolutely. Remember, finding a new place in this market, it's a nightmare. Acknowledging that shows you get it, shows you understand the challenges they're facing,
It's like that golden rule, treat others.
as you'd want to be treated.
Exactly. Basic decency, but it makes a difference, doesn't it?
Huge difference. And here's a thought. Since they've been such good tenants, offer to be a reference for them.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right. A good reference in this market. It's gold. Could be what gets them their next place.
It's like giving them a head start in that rental race. Shows you're not just showing them the door, you're actually helping them find their next home.
Exactly. It's about tackling this together, not being adversaries.
Okay, so we've covered the legal stuff, being open and honest, even some tips on supporting the tenants during the move. Sounds like our listeners ready to handle this legally and compassionately, which is a good combo.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up, God encourage our listener to take a step back for a second. This whole thing started with those rising college costs, right?
Right, college tuition, every parent's financial hurdle.
Exactly. And selling the rental might seem like the only solution right now, but have they thought about other financing options? Scholarships, grants, even loans.
All good points. Easy to get tunnel vision on one solution and forget there might be other ways, less drastic ways, to handle it.
Right. Sometimes we just want the quickest fix, but this could be a chance to really look at their long-term finances, maybe even talk to a financial advisor. Could uncover strategies they never even knew existed.
That's such an important reminder. So while we've given our listener a roadmap for selling their property, the bigger message is stay open to possibilities. Sometimes the best solutions come from thinking outside the box, right?
100%. And who knows, this whole thing might even lead to some positive financial discoveries down the line.
Well, there you have it. If you're grappling with a similar situation, remember, you're not alone. And be sure to join us next time for another deep dive into the issues that matter. Until then, stay informed and stay curious.